Jacob, shall we start?
Okay, sir. Okay. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So greetings from St. Kitts College of Engineering. I hope you all had a peaceful sleep last night. So welcome to day 3 of our STTP on blockchain fundamentals, organized by St. Kitts College of Engineering, sponsored by AICTE. And I hope you're enjoying the session. So today we have 3 exciting sessions: blockchain and graph databases, human values and ethics with a blockchain perspective, developing blockchain towards interdisciplinary applications. So I hope today we will be having 3 exciting sessions. So today we have with us Dr. Sajeev GP, Associate Professor, School of Engineering, Amrita University, Amrithapuri Campus, Kollam. And his area of research is graph theory, machine learning, social networks. So he has got his PhD from National Institute of Technology, Calicut. Most of you are familiar with him. He's a versatile speaker and a charming academician. And he's guided a lot of PhD students, and he has got a great variety of academic papers published. So on behalf of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, St. Kitts College of Engineering, I welcome you, sir, wholeheartedly to this 6-day STTP on blockchain fundamentals. The screen is all yours, and we are all yours. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Rather it was an honor for me to invite for this particular program, and really I'm honored. So we start our session actually. So today we have a slight change in the topic actually. One slight change in the sense that initially I was thinking of blockchain and graph databases, but when I saw the content actually, going into the databases might be slightly, it will overrun the time actually, and again it may not be effective. So I will restrict the topic to blockchain and graphs actually, not graph databases. Okay, blockchain and graphs only. So take the presentation. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes, sir, we can.
Yeah.
Sir, presentation
is not being shown. The screen we can see.
Now also not seen?
No, sir.
No.
Now it is?
No, sir, it is not. Yeah, we can see now. Yes, sir. Yes.
Is full screen?
No, it is not.
It is not full screen.
No. Yes, it is fine.
Are you able to see?
Yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir, it is fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so we start the blockchain networks and graphs on the first session of today. Now, the content of the topic or the outline of the topics, we have actually two sections or two parts for this particular talk. One is about graphs and another is about blockchains. Actually, okay. Now, the blockchain, though the title of the talk is blockchain and graphs, actually, and the topic graphs or network graphs is, I mean, a very, very mature topic, and it is there around for a long time. And blockchain, arguably, it's an emerging topic. Okay. Now, what's the idea is that I will introduce network graphs first, and then blockchains, and I will try to connect both actually. Okay. So the blockchain graphs are relatively new topics. Only if you only see a couple of papers only. I mean, I think it is. I mean, less than. I mean, even if it is less than 10 also, I mean, it's not a surprise. Okay, it's a altogether it's a new topic. Okay, blockchain graphs or. So we introduce network graphs, network as a graph, then real world graphs, then some graph applications we will discuss. And we also discuss on graph mining or graph analysis rather. In that some subtopics we shall see, like representing networks, measures. Okay. And again here the whole idea or the whole objective is, I mean, not to have a hi-fi lecture or something. Just I want to show you how the things work. For example, in the case of network graphs, okay, I just want to show you like how you do something on graphs. Okay? That's the idea, and that is again the idea in blockchains as well. I mean, rather than I mean discussing about the blockchains and all, I mean the fundamental theory of blockchains. My objective is to show you how the things work. Okay. So this is the contents, and one thing I want to tell you at the beginning itself, I have very little knowledge about blockchain actually. Okay, I'm not a blockchain expert. I know, I mean, some fundamentals here and there. Okay, that also not complete. Then you may wonder how we can take sessions like this, because I'm interested in graphs actually, and again I'm particularly interested in blockchain networks or blockchain as a graph actually. Okay, not the other part of the I mean, blockchain, or I am not able to at this moment. I'm not able to appreciate fully like how I mean what are the essence of I mean the blockchain. Okay, so what we can achieve here, or what is the objective of this particular talk is, I will introduce network graphs in a arguably I mean, good way, and then looking different aspects of blockchain. Then how will you do network analysis of blockchain data? Okay, and like how will you do a research, or how will you do a project based on blockchain? Okay, so this is the whole idea of this talk or this. So we proceed further. So first we introduce what is network or what is a graph. Okay, so now network in general, or a graph in general, and again the term network and the graph are used interchangeably, okay, many times. I mean a network can be represented as a graph, but whenever you say graph, that is a network. Whenever you say network, that is again a graph, and sometimes it is together called as network graphs. Okay, it doesn't matter, okay, how you are saying it. Okay, all the idea is same only. Now, if you take a network or if you take a graph, I mean, primarily there are two components, nodes and links, okay, or nodes and edges, or vertices and edges. Sometimes in a mathematical way we say like that, okay, vertices and edges. So here, just we want to represent network or a represent graph. or using network or using graph, we want to represent some real world phenomena or real world event. We may call it as, I mean, the nodes and links having more importance. So the nodes, when you say, so nodes are, I mean, could be individuals, it could be households, it could be work groups, it could be computers, whatnot. Okay. So those are the nodes, and the links or the edges could be relationship, or it could be it could be even a tie also. Tie means there exists more than one relationship, or means there exists more than one links or edges between the nodes. So sometimes multi-edge graph or some sort. Okay, so that is a network or a graph. Okay, and again it could be affiliation also, like affiliation, a person affiliated to work for IBM, so he's part of the IBM network. Okay, so naturally he will get connected to say the HR personnel, say for example, or ACM member is again another affiliation. Football team is again, it could be an affiliation. So a person affiliated to many couple of football teams at the same time means he is connected to many networks at many networks at a time. So it means it forms a multi graph or a multi network or of some sort. Okay. Now examples of network are, web graph is one of the example. So the web graph is actually the web graph is a network of collection of web pages or HTML pages. You might have observed a navigational link from a page to another page. So that navigational link is nothing but the edge of the graph, and the nodes are nothing but these web pages or HTML pages. So web graph is one example of a network or a graph. Okay. Then again, social network graphs are very popular. Like it could be friendship network or Facebook or Twitter. I will show you some interesting graphs. Okay, and there could be document graphs as well. I mean, you can form a graph within a document, or even you can form a graph of different documents. Okay, many possibilities are there. Okay, and there could be citation network. This is also quite popular among the researchers. Like, I mean, the citation forms a network, or the citation between or among the research articles or forms a kind of network. Okay, now all these are now again, please understand that graph or a network, it's actually a data representation, nothing else. Okay, when you say graph or sometimes it represents the real world system, or sometimes it is imaginary also. Like some biological network it's a real world, this one. Whereas web graph is, there is no such graph existing actually, or there is no such, but you can deduce a network out of the World Wide Web. Okay, so like that, social network, or so please understand that this if you take any of this network or a graph, web graph or a social network graph, one peculiarity is that they are actually massively big graphs actually. Okay, web graph, or if you take the web graph, what will be the size of the web graph? Could be in billion. Number of nodes in web graph is sometime back in 2014, or okay, when the measurement was taken, it was in billions. Now I don't know whether it is crossed trillion or not. Yeah, so all these are massively large graphs actually. Okay, so large graph processing is what the the demand or the need of the hour. Okay, now I will show you some real world graphs. So web graph, as I told you earlier already, that is web graph is a real world graph. Then Twitter, actually, Twitter is again a very big graph. Okay, Twitter graph again. So even if you take a part of the Twitter or part of the web, that again forms a very large graph. Okay, then again citation network, as I mentioned you earlier, that's again a large graph or a big graph. then LinkedIn network. Okay, LinkedIn network is also a big graph or a large graph. Then Facebook is another network or another graph. Then okay, if you take another example, goods flow, if this is actually outcome of one of the study, actually goods flow and money flow in a business network. Okay, that again forms another graph. Okay, now these are all, now if you look into everywhere you will find networks actually. Okay, networks everywhere, like social networks. Okay, friendship network. Okay, this is actually the site showing friendship network of a karate club. Actually, karate club is a very popular data set of social network. Then again, email communication network again of some HP employees. And again, network of friendship and marital tie and family tie among 2,200 people is again a study in 2007. So all these are forms network. Okay, now social network is very popular, very common. Many of you might be knowing already. Now there are other networks as well, like transportation and mobility network actually. Now the left side what is showing is network of direct flights around the world. Okay, network of direct flights around the world. Then what we will see is a bus transportation network in a city, particular city. Okay, and then again human mobility network based on location of dollar base. Okay, so that is again a, so there exist transportation and mobility networks. The nodes could be either individuals, or nodes could be aeroplane, or nodes could be cities. Okay, like then there exists other networks as well, like information networks again. Okay, information networks again, communication between left wing and right wing political blocks. Okay, that is a network you can see here. Then again, internet connectivity is again not web graph, internet itself is a network. Then again, network of Wikipedia articles, about the climate change. That is a graph, it is shown there. Okay, so the information. Now there exists other networks as well, like biological networks. Okay, protein to protein interactions is another biological network. Okay, and then again, food web is what another biological network. Okay, so the point I want to tell you that you will find networks everywhere. Okay? Not only computer networks or not only technological networks, you will find networks everywhere. Okay, not only again in social networks, you will find networks at every walk of life. Okay, both in real world as well as human imaginary world also, you will find networks. Now, what you will do with these networks? Okay, so that's a question if you want to answer. Like, okay, like one application is like rumor likely, how the rumor or false news likely to spread in this network. Okay, if this question you want to answer, then what you have to do is that you have to do network analysis, or who is the most influential person, say in a particular organization, or who is the most influential person in a friendship network. Okay, or which person carries most of the information in a network. Okay, so if these questions you want to answer, then these becomes the graph problems or network problems. Okay, so like it could be influence maximization problem. Like, if you want to find out who is the the person having highest influence in the society or in the network, it's a so that is information spread. There are other applications as well. Whether so there was a famous problem of karate club actually. Okay, because karate club, no time to tell the story actually. So there was a question like whether the karate club will separate, okay, or they will split into two groups. Okay, so the karate club was famous in 1960s or in 70s in the United States. Okay, so how the network formed and all that. If you're interested, you can go and look into. So whether the karate club or for that matter, whether any group or community or a network, whether it will split or partition into two groups, okay, then which node will go to which group? Okay, this question, if you want to ask, like then it becomes a graph clustering problem or a community detection problem or graph partitioning problem. Okay, all these are, I mean, more or less what I say. Okay, so this is another network application. Then like, yeah, some like in today's world, it is much more relevance. Like, which airports are the highest risk of virus spreading? Okay, then or some part of the world it is difficult to reach. How will you, I mean, or which are the cities in the world which are more difficult to reach? Okay, so if these questions you want to answer, then again it's graph analysis. Okay, so the problem could be of epidemic spread, or there are some protocols called as GOSI protocol. I mean, how the information, how fast the information is spreading across the network. So these are like, again, a graph problem. I mean a real world problem you can map into a graph problem. Okay, so that is what the the idea I want to give across. Okay, yeah. So these are some network applications, and yeah. Now, what you will do with this? Okay, so so we have introduced what is a network, different kind of networks, and again we told that networks are there everywhere, and also we told that to understand some problem or to resolve some research question, we have to do graph analysis, okay, or graph mining. Again, there are minute difference between mining and analysis. Yeah. So the graph mining are nothing but the set of tools to analyze the properties of real world graphs, then predict how the structure and properties of a given graph might affect some applications, then develop models that can generate realistic graphs that match the pattern found in real world graphs of interest. Yeah. So the graph mining or graph analysis, and now there are many ways to do graph analysis, or I mean plenty of tools are available in plenty to do graph analysis. And again, graph analysis, graph analytical tools are there. Analytical tools in the sense that not the software tools. There are tools like how will you model a graph, okay, or how will you, I mean, how will you represent a graph? Okay, so such tools are available already. For example, like if you want to do some graph analysis, what you will do is that the easiest way is that take the graph into the matrix form and then analyze the matrix. Okay, so some metrics, so all the metrics, I mean tools in the sense that something like SVD, singular value decomposition. Okay, SVD you can apply on this matrix. Okay, for to know certain properties. So they are the tools. I'm not going to discuss all the tools and all that. I'll just briefly mention. Now here, now when you come into the software tools, there are again plenty number software tools. Okay, very popular one is NetworkX, and there is an iGraph, there is a Gephi. Okay, and again using R language you can do I mean graph analysis. But here I will show you some examples based on NetworkX. Okay, yeah, because it is easy to communicate or using NetworkX. So NetworkX is a Python package actually. Yeah. Now when you look into the network graphs and that, again something like the topics in network graphs in a nutshell, if you look into, I mean these are the topics. Just I will. Okay, now these are the topics in again in a subset of topics, again not everything. Okay, now some basics of network graphs are involved, like how you path, then cycles, then connectivity, then how many components are there in a graph, then what is distance measures are there, like distance, shortest path, or diameter. Okay. Then when you want to do more on graph analysis, then something is called as connectedness, then degree distribution, then centrality, click, clusters. Okay. So these are about in any network graph. And again, if you want to do, link analysis. Okay, link analysis we do for certain purpose again. For example, link analysis. PageRank is one of the algorithm used in link analysis, or Hits algorithm is also used in link analysis. Or if you want to predict some link, then again we have to do the link analysis. Or graph partitioning algorithms are there. Very famous graph partitioning algorithm is Green-Van-Neumann algorithm. Okay. Green-Van-Neumann algorithm based on flow centrality. And then there could be spectral analysis. Or the point I want to tell you that, graph analysis is a very large topic. Just I want to tell you that such topic exists. Okay. In graph, we only take the things required for in our discussion. That is, we are interested in, blockchain. Okay. Or blockchain and graph. Now, just I will show you for the for interest. Just I will show you how will you take a network and then how will you use it in using network X. The same thing you can extend to blockchain networks as well. Okay. So how will you represent a network? There are many ways to represent a network, like adjacency matrix is one popular representation method. So in adjacency matrix, what we do is that, when there is a link from 1 to 2, then A12 will be equal to 1. Okay. Or whenever there is a link from I to J, then Aij will be equal to 1. Otherwise, it will be 0. Okay. So an adjacency matrix of a network will be nothing but having values 0s and 1s. Okay. So whenever there is a link, so naturally, if there is no self loop, okay, self loops are not considered, then the diagonal elements will be zeros. Okay, the entire diagonal will be 0. So that is adjacency matrix representation. So adjacency matrix will have a size of V cross V. Okay, where V is cardinality. Okay, that is number of nodes. Then there are other representations as well, like adjacency list is there. So adjacency list is simply saying a list of adjacent nodes. Okay, means if we say 1, 2, say 2, 3, then 3, 5, then 6, 1, means that this one and there is an edge between 1 and 2, there is an edge between etc. like that. Okay, so adjacency list is there. Then there's an edge list also. Okay, edge list also you can give. You can number it and you can give. And again, adjacency list and edge list are more or less same actually. Yeah, we say adjacency list and edge list again depending upon what software tool that you are using. Then incidence matrix is another popular representation. Now there are, then if you ask me like why there is a need of so many representations, when you want to trade off between like the space that you want to use, okay, or because see, we are dealing with large graphs. See, the adjacency matrix size will be V cross V. Okay, so if you take a web graph, okay, even if it's a very small web graph of 1000 nodes, then the matrix will be of size of 1000 into 1000. Okay, so it's a very large matrix to handle. So there are situations that you want, you may prefer adjacency matrix. Some case you may prefer adjacency list. When the space is a constraint, you may prefer adjacency list. But adjacency matrix is having, its own advantage. Like, so what you do is that sometimes you may, and again adjacency matrix, sometimes it may be a sparse matrix. You may find so many zeros in the adjacency matrix. So you can use some reduction technique or some so-called dimensionality reduction technique, or okay, those sort of techniques you can always try. Yeah, so that's adjacent. So that's a matrix representation. Now just I will show you like how you use a graph. Okay, I mean again, these are just examples, but however you can extend to any. These are very simple things. So that is what I want to tell you, or I want to show you, like to take a graph and yeah, it is so simple. Like it is using adjacency list actually. So you say you shall Python code network X as an X, and okay. So if you look into the GX, this G1 is equal to NX dot graph, it creates the graph. It creates a skeleton graph. Then what you are doing is that you are adding edges to G1. Okay, you are adding edges to G1, and then just you are drawing it. Okay. So it's a simple method of plotting a graph. Now the same thing you can extend to many methods, like you can take a file and you can like you can assume that you want to take from a text file. Then you have to create an adjacency list file, and then you load that adjacency list text file. Okay, so this is a sample text file I have shown here. So if you look into 0, 2, 3, 4, 5 means to 0, 1, 2, 3, 5 are the adjacent nodes. Means there is connection between 0 and 1, 0 and 2, 0 and 3, 0 and 5. Okay. Similarly, 1, 3, 6, second line. Second line 1, 3, 6 says that 1 is connected to 3 and 1 is connected to 6. Okay, so like that it is mentioned. So you create a file like this. Okay, I mean you create just the adjacency list text file. Then what you do is that you just read that text file. Okay, you read that text file. So when you read that text file, then you make a graph. Okay, you make a graph out of it. Okay, so using nx.graph. Okay, then you can plot it. So you can load from a file also. Okay, you can load from a file. This is a normal practice actually. What we do is that we get the data set. You get the data set of the or you crawl the data resources. Then you make a form a data set. Then convert into some standard format. Okay, actually NetworkX allow you to some 8 or 9 formats are possible. Then load the graph, and then once the load is graph, then once the graph is loaded into the computing space, then it's your playground actually. Okay, you can make it into a matrix form or whatever you want. Okay, then you can analyze it then. Okay, so just I want to show you some basics, that's all, nothing. Yeah, so this is adjacency matrix actually. So here we are using NumPy. Okay, NumPy for representing the matrix. Okay, NumPy array. Okay, NumPy array. Then NumPy array, if you mention, then it's a matrix. You can get a graph out of it. Okay, either in NetworkX allow you in either way actually. You have a graph with you. This graph can be converted as a data, like adjacency matrix or adjacency list or something like that. Reverse is also possible. Okay, so just how will you read and write graphs. Okay, so that is what the point I want to highlight on. Yeah, then some few more available in NetworkX. Okay, just I have shown you here for the interest. You can compute shortest path, you can do clustering using NetworkX, or you can find the diameter. Okay, or you can do graph partitioning, or you can do page rank. I think most of the things are available in NetworkX. Even if it is not available, of course you can add in the form of a library, or okay, those sort of things are. It is not a very big deal actually. Doing in NetworkX or it's not a big deal. Or just you have to work for a couple of hours. Yeah. So the point, yeah. So till now we were discussing on graphs actually. Yeah, so the graphs are like just I will show you like what we have discussed. Some points we have not discussed, but here I want to mention. Okay, yeah, there are large graphs available, real world graphs. That could be a social graph, or social network graphs, or web graph, or biological graph, or technological graph, or okay, or real world graphs. Now you can do graph analysis by measures, different measure methods, or the tools are there. You can use centrality measures, you can do link analysis, you can do spectral analysis, or you can do influence maximization problem or analysis. Then the tools available, software tools available are NetworkX is there, Gephi is there, then Snap is there. Snap is actually Stanford network architecture platform. Okay, and where in Snap again, the plenty of data sets are also available for different networks like social network or even Amazon, then Facebook or Twitter. Okay, you may find variety of data sets available in Snap again. Again, Spark is another popular platform for doing big data problems. That also Spark also you can do. I think the Spark notebooks are available now, okay, just like Jupyter notebook. Then graphs are again variety of type. I have not gone into those. Directed and undirected is there. Then weighted graph is there. Signed weighted graphs, signed graph is there. And then multi graphs are there. Okay. Many types of graphs are also available. Then graph models are there, like random graphs, then diffusion on cascading, then dynamic or temporal graphs are there. Okay, many graphs are now. There is a new form of graph is called as temporal graphs, where there is a time factor is also there. Okay, yeah. So then the how will you handle a graph using metrics? Again, the metrics tools are I'm mentioning, like singular value decomposition, principal component analysis, then CUR, then page rank, hits. Many tools are also available. So this is what the things in a nutshell that we have discussed so far. We discussed about graphs. We discussed about what is the need of how you do a graph application. Then the tools available. I have shown you some examples, not hi-fi, not very hi-fi examples, just small things I have shown you. Then the types of the graphs, then models of the graphs. Actually, we have not discussed. Yeah, different graph models are available for again purpose. For example, there is a random graph. Actually, random graphs are actually graph models for evolving networks. Actually, if you look into social, if you look into the difference between a social network and a computer network, the difference is pretty clear. If you look into a computer network, what you will do, if you want to establish a network, what you will do, you will decide the topology, then you will decide the architecture, then you have a network diagram, then implement the network or deploy the network. Okay, that is what we do in the case of a computer network. Whereas in the case of a social network, we are not doing like that. Social networks are emerging day by day, okay, day by day. And again, the social network or the large graph. Okay, there are properties like scale-free graphs, or scale-free graphs in the sense that as the network size increases, something like the diameter shrinks, or the diameter won't increase to in that proportion. Okay, so the scale-free property actually means you can increase the size of the social network to any extent, but the properties of the graph more or less remains the same. Okay, yeah. So these are standard graphs are model evolving networks or evolving graphs. Yeah. So this is what the thing that we have seen in a nutshell. We have already seen. Now we move on to blockchains. So having discussed about graphs, so just like the graphs here, social network, can we add a blockchain graph here? So that's a question. Okay, so that is a question we are trying to answer in this session. Okay, can you have a blockchain graph, or if at all there is a blockchain graph, what you will do with that? Okay, or can you extend the same graph analyzing tools to analyze the blockchains as well? Okay, so these questions we are trying to answer in this session. So we may move on to blockchains. Yeah, so just some basics I will tell you. As I mentioned you earlier, I don't know much about blockchain. I have not worked in blockchain in a direct manner. I only looked into the blockchain graphs only. Okay, So blockchain, there are many. Blockchain is a software protocol actually. Okay, so it is just like an SCTP or SMTP protocol. Okay, so it is having both application layer and protocol layer, like, okay, just like, so in the application layer, email, for email, the application layer email, and the protocol, the corresponding protocol is SMTP. Or when the application layer contains the web browser, the corresponding protocol is HTTP. These things you know. So this could be, so you can have a, I mean, SMTP protocol, and you can have a different email client also. Okay, for the same SMTP protocol, you know that network is actually designed in a modular fashion. Actually, you can plug and you can plug with any modules. Okay, by just looking into the interface part of it. So just like I mean, application layer email and SMTP protocol layer, we have Bitcoin in the application layer, and we have the corresponding protocol is the blockchain protocol. Okay, so it means that you can have other type of applications as well. Okay, you can have, instead of having Bitcoin, you can have some other application layer application also. Okay, by where the underlying protocol is the blockchain protocol. Okay. So sometimes blockchain and Bitcoin are I mean, used in a, I mean, interchangeably. Okay, whenever you say blockchain, by default it is Bitcoin, or whenever you say Bitcoin, it is by default blockchain. Popular, very popular. That could be the reason. But blockchain and Bitcoin are different actually. Okay, I mean, blockchain is the protocol, and Bitcoin is the and Bitcoin is the application. Yeah. So yeah. So having told blockchain, no, yeah. So it is having underlying theory. Yes, I think some speakers already might have gone through all these topics, like, okay, it uses a public key encryption, and it is a highly distributed system. Yeah. Now, what are the parts of the, what are the blocks, I mean, components in a blockchain? Yeah, some, just to refresh your knowledge. Blockchain consists of actually transactions, then it is having ledgers, immutable ledgers, then having peers there, then I mean, there is an encryption process, encryption, decryption process, and there are consensus mechanism. Okay. I think there is a session on consensus mechanism, actually, I have seen in that your program chart. Then again, smart contracts again. Okay. Smart contracts is another way of looking at blockchain application. Yeah, so just how a Bitcoin transaction works, it is shown there. Just to refresh your knowledge, you might be knowing already this. Then someone requests for a transaction, then the transaction broadcasted to P2P network, then there will be a validation, then the transaction combined to form a data block, and a new data block is added to the existing chain, and the transaction is complete. Okay, so you know this. So this is a blockchain constituents or blockchain components. Now, our interest is to look into look the blockchain as in a graph perspective or a network perspective. So, what are the potential area that we can find a graph? Okay, so that is what our interest is. So, briefly, I will tell you that. Okay, what are the areas, and again, which are the graphs available in blockchain now? Okay. Now, blockchain address is a unique string actually. Okay, addresses are there. Address is a unique string. Yeah, created from public keys. Yeah. So, please, Meera. Okay, so the blockchain address unique string 26 to 35 characters created from public keys. Then, yeah, example of Bitcoin having two addresses actually. There is a, pay to pub key hash address, that is one address. Another address is a script hash address. Okay, this is another address, two types of addresses. Okay, so these two types of addresses having its own, like, where you will use pub key hash. Okay, that is a single private key used to spend bitcoins received from a transaction, whereas the script hash is a functionality added later to support M of n multi-signature transaction. Okay, means a transaction will be valid when M out of n do the signature. Okay, so address is one potential area of generating a graph in a Bitcoin. Okay, then we have transactions actually. Okay, transaction is nothing but transfer of assets between addresses. Okay, so in the case of Bitcoin, it is the coin that you are transferring. Okay, yeah. So transaction is another potential area. So you can see that the transactions are variety of transactions are possible. Like actually, this diagrams are taken from a paper. Actually, you can given in the reference actually. Now A1 is giving a transaction to A9. Okay, they are just numbered. Okay, 1, 2, 3 like that. Now there is a possibility that two blocks from A2 and one block from A3 are transferred in such a manner that it will go to A5 and A6. Okay, A5 receives 2, and the 2 it is one is giving as an A8 and another A10 is giving as a service charge. Okay, or a transaction fee or something like that. Okay, so multiple way of transaction is possible in a Bitcoin. So this is again a potential area for looking a graph in a blockchain. Yeah, so transferring funds from multiple address to multiple addresses are possible in a Bitcoin. Yeah, then blockchain application has 2 layers actually. Now we'll look into the scope of the graphs in a clear-cut manner. So 2 things I told you, like one is address, another is transaction. So how will you get a graph out of this? That is the question. So blockchain application has 2 layers, as we know. Okay, one is application, another is a network. Okay, now in the application layer, what we can have is we can have a content graphs. Okay, we can have content graphs. So the content graphs actually reflect transfers of asset. Okay, reflect transfers of assets, or so if it is a Bitcoin protocol, yeah, it could be coin or amount. Or now this content graph we can use track and locate stolen assets and for marketing purpose. Okay, then in the network layer we have a communication graphs. Now the communication graphs again reflect the underlying P2P communication network. Okay, so this actually tell you what is a network, topology or the network itself. Actually, communication network itself, that is essentially a peer-to-peer network. Yeah, then it is improves to common communication networks or communication graphs are analyzed. You can analyze it for improving the scalability. Okay, for example, Bitcoin, how many Bitcoin users are possible, or if you want to increase the Bitcoin users, or kind of, or if you want to allow more and more into the network, then you have to scale it up. Then yeah. Now we look into the content graphs more. Content graphs again forms. So we told that blockchain graphs can be 2 types. One is application content graphs. Okay, content graphs essentially comes from the application layer, and communication graphs. Okay, communication graphs comes from the network. Now content graphs are of 3 types actually. Okay, transaction, address. Actually, we have already discussed about transaction and address. Or there is another one is also entity or user. Okay, so the transaction graph, address graph, or entity graph. Okay, 3 types of graphs are possible. Now just we will look into how the transaction graphs are. Okay, now the transaction graphs are nothing but each edge represents a transferred asset. Okay, denoted with a weight. So the transaction graphs are nothing but a weighted network. Okay, or a weighted graph, nothing else. Okay, then each incoming edge is either a transfer or it could be a coin-based transaction. Okay, so that is a transaction graph. So just a transaction graph is shown here. Like, I mean, one is receiving an edge, okay, from somewhere. Okay, it could be from the starting block or starting node. Then say 2 is receiving 2 edges. I mean, 2 edges means there are 2 transfers to 2. Then 3 is receiving 1. Then 3 is, there are 2 outlinks from 3 actually. Yeah. So then you will see a chain there, 6 and 6 is giving to 8 and all. Okay. So these transaction graphs are essentially represents, here it is not shown as a weighted graph actually. Yeah. So the transaction graphs are essentially the weighted graphs where the weight says that how many amount or what is the asset transfer. Okay. If it is in terms of, if the blockchain application is for asset transfer, just like Bitcoin, then the weight could be the amount that you have transferred. Okay. If it is used for some smart contract, okay, then the weight could be something else. Okay. So that is transaction graph is one type of graph. Then again, yeah, then transaction graph, one example is actually, yeah, the same graph. So the incoming edge to transaction 1 might be a Bitcoin gained from a coin-based transaction. Then the edge between the transaction 4 and 5 is a transfer of edge. Okay, it's a transfer edge between 4 and 5. Yeah. So now, how will you handle transaction graphs? That is the question. Now the transaction graphs are the biggest graph in or the largest graph of blockchain. Actually, you can imagine how many. It depends for every transaction happening or every return happening. All it forms a link actually. Okay, and every transaction is the node could be, the node could be the user, or and again or even the key that he's using. Okay, or the transaction key could be the node, and the edges are nothing but from where to where, and what is the amount it is transferred. Handling transaction graph is difficult because it is come to the last thing. So what we do is that, so storing the transaction graph and working with them is very, very costly. Okay. So what you will do, there are methods. So whenever data is larger, what we do is that you filter out some data. Okay, that is a basic. Okay, so filtering out the data in a systematic manner, we may call it as a dimensionality reduction. Okay, so dominant set only you take, you take the transaction graph, and again there is a concept of core graph in graph theory. Actually, you take only the core part of the graph. Okay, leave the remaining for doing the analysis. So it could be dominant set, or you filter the transactions. If the transaction amount is less than so many coins, then you don't consider that particular transaction. Okay, so that way you can reduce the graph and then you can work on it. Okay, that is one method, but you can apply. See, all the tools that you are applying for big data, you can apply here also. Okay, in whatever way you want. So that is a transaction graph. Then there is an address graph. We told that content graphs are 3 types actually: transaction, address, and entity graph. Okay, yeah. So the address graphs, actually the graph uses addresses as nodes. Okay, yeah. Then each edge carries a weight or an amount here also. Then possibly multiple edges between the addresses. Okay, if a change is sent back to the input address, then it forms a self loop. Then the address uses an assets only once. Okay. Now again, if you are interested in this area, self loops are not allowed actually, or a cycle is not allowed in a graph. Okay, if the cycle is allowed, then there is a possibility of fraudulent transfer or not. Yeah. So some example is shown here, like, okay, so A11 is transferring to A13, then A13 also receiving from A12. Yeah. So suppose A11 is transferring to A13 and A13 is transferring back to A11, kind of it is sometimes it is, or it is actually a, an unwritten rule actually. Okay, you are not supposed to form a cycle. Yeah. So that is address graph. Then you have entity graph. Okay, so entity graph is actually telling like whether the addresses are owned by the same entity or not, because the same user can use different addresses to transfer amount or to play in the network. Then how will you know that whether whether it is some malign activity or okay, some other fraud activity? How will you know that? So this is one form actually. You can form a cluster of entities actually. Okay, so here the entities could be addresses. So even if in the diagram what is shown here is E4 is having 4 different address. Okay, so it will act as a 4 nodes in the case of an address graph, whereas in the case of an entity graph, all 4 remains same to a single person. Okay, all right, single entity. Okay, yeah. Then some entities such as WikiLeaks publicly advertise its address. Okay, or you can get the address using various sources. Okay, so if the user is known actually, okay, already known, then the transaction from his address or her address can be accepted by vendors, say without waiting for 6 blocks. Okay, in general, I think 6 blocks you have to wait to validate a transaction, but so they are called as green marked address. Or okay, that is again related to this entity graph. Like suppose that all addresses are green marked, then it forms an entity where you can do a trusted transaction. Yeah, yeah. So then one more graph, that is communication graph. Communication graphs are actually comes from the peer-to-peer network. Okay, so the peer-to-peer network, then regularity or yeah, a peer regularly sends its IDs, or this is basically how a P2P network works. Okay, there is nothing new in this, only slight differences in to tune with the blockchain. Okay. Yeah, so in a peer-to-peer network, actually now there are some centralized peer will be there, but this blockchain is fully distributed. So there is no central nodes, or there is no root nodes. In conventional P2P systems, we have like root nodes and all. So here we don't have anything of that sort. So the communication graphs is actually a P2P network, P2P graph. Then here, there also in a P2P network also we have something like Malay nodes, or the nodes which are doing fraud activities. So those kind of all P2P system theory you can apply here in a blockchain communication graphs as well. Yeah, yeah, some technique used by Bitcoin trickling. Yeah. So that about, so we have seen 3 graphs actually, or 3 content graphs and 1 communication graph. Okay, so essentially there are 4 graphs. So sometimes what we do is that we may integrate these graphs also. There is no harm in, you can integrate a communication graph together with a transaction graph or an address graph. Okay, address graph is more common. Then for analysis purpose you can do that. Okay, yeah. Now how will you do research in blockchain graphs? Like, okay, the easiest way to do the research or project, or you want you want to work on it, if you're interested, then to do something and get happy with that. Yeah. Then transaction graph data sets are available actually. It's a new blockchain application other than Bitcoin. Then again, elliptic data set of Bitcoin is again available in Kaggle. Now, what are the problems that you can do actually? Okay, you can do transaction graph analysis, like for detecting the cryptocurrency fraud. Okay, then again anomaly detection. Then if suppose if there is a cycle, if you find in a transaction graph, then the cycles you can find out using say something like called as some anomaly or fraud detection you can do. Just like in a, you might have heard, I don't know, call graph is there. Call graph, if you find a cycle in a call graph, then that is something called as sandwich call, okay? Like where fraudulent activities by some group or so you can do. Then you can extract a subgraph. Then again, you can work on the graph structure. Actually, that is also very interesting research now. Like how a Bitcoin graph look like. If you take the graph and transaction graph of a Bitcoin, how it look like again. Okay, so some recent studies are there. Like it look exactly like a web graph actually. Web graph is in the form of a bow tie nature. I mean, the structure of the web graph forms a bow tie structure actually. So that was a study some time back. Okay, might have changed. Yeah. Now this surprisingly, this Bitcoin graph is also of the same nature. Okay. Some recent study was 2019 paper was there. Like it is having a bow tie structure. Yeah. So we summarize our this one. So we have discussed actually two topics. One is graphs, and other is blockchain. Yeah. So graph is essentially, consists of nodes and links. Okay. So graph is simple. Graph is nodes and links. Then we have briefly discussed how you do graph analysis, and what are the graph algorithms involved or measures are involved. Then some graph models also we mentioned. Then the data sets were available. In the summary of the graph, we have shown you like the data set is available. Like okay, there is a snap data set available. Yeah. Then what are the tools are used for graphs again? Then blockchain. What is the scope of looking to the blockchain in the form of a network? And again, just we have discussed about content graphs, communication graphs, and we discussed about some research aspects as well. Okay, so I just want to connect the graph and the blockchain. Okay, nothing else. So in the graphs, we have discussed about how you take a graph. We have seen some practical aspects of graphs as well, like how you take a graph and how you analyze it. Only some preliminary things I have shown you. It's the full of resources are available actually in the network X or in the form of notebooks and all. Okay. And blockchain also. So you can have a blockchain graph or a blockchain data set. Okay. Initially, if you want to work with, you can take actually Kaggle is having a very small data set. You can take a Kaggle data set of transactions. Then you can form a content graph or a transaction graph. Then you can look into like, or even primary analysis you can do at least. Okay, what is the connectedness? What is the components available? Okay, whether there are any cycles or. Okay, I think in that there are no cycles actually. That is a very perfect graph. Yeah. So yeah. So these are the things we have discussed. So it's almost 1 hour 5 minutes. So it's yeah. So I will stop talking now. You can, if you have any feedback or if you have any suggestion or if you have some more knowledge about this, you can also you can air. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. So that's it. So thank you all. Thank you for patient listening. Yeah. Waiting for your feedback and your suggestions or your queries. Queries, if I know, I will answer. Else, yeah.
Thank you, Sajeev sir. Thank you for enabling us to dive deeper into the exciting applications of graph theory, the concept of SNA, the notion of social network as a graph, and indeed the applications of graphs in blockchain, the transaction graphs. It was indeed an interesting and exciting session. Now it is open for discussion. Participants can post their queries, or you can directly unmute yourself and ask your questions, please. Sajeev sir, there is a question. One participant is asking, can you please share more about detecting cryptocurrency fraud?
Yeah, sure. whether the participant want the answer right now or?
Yes, sir, that's.
I have seen, actually it is there in the reference actually. I have seen couple of papers where cryptocurrency, networks are there. I mean, you can do crypto analysis on a transaction graph actually. Okay, but that I have not gone into the detail. I mean, into the deep of that. So that interesting, that participant can go into actually. He can look into my references actually, and then he can explore it further.
Thank you, sir. So Rekha Bhatia has asked, can you please suggest some research areas related to blockchain?
Yeah, so as I mentioned a couple of times, I know only this blockchain, graph aspects actually. Okay, so the graph aspects in the way one you can do is that, for example, if you take a transaction graph, then if you find a community detection, okay, community detection in a transaction graph, then you can find out the strong area, strong communities, or the people who are frequently doing the transactions. Okay, so such a group, if you want to find out, you can do graph partitioning or community detection. Then again, this anomaly detection and fraudulent detection are very, very popular in research areas in blockchain or in Bitcoin in particular. Okay, now again, one more point. Her question is interesting actually. Now, if you want to do blockchain research or don't into the Bitcoin actually, okay, Bitcoin is slightly, withdrawing from the research. Withdrawing from the research in the sense that because new and new concepts are getting evolved actually, or getting evolved. So, so my suggestion is to go into, stick to blockchain first. Okay, and whatever is the application, whether it is smart contract or whether it is Bitcoin or whether it is Ethereum, or she can. Okay.
Thank you, sir. We have another question from Mr. Nikhil D. Prince. So he's asking how the graph will be helpful in tracing transactions over blockchain.
That is actually a fundamental, very, very fundamental question in a graph problem actually. It is not a very big hi-fi graph problem actually. Tracing something on a graph, or what we do is that we apply graph algorithms. Okay, graph algorithms depending upon the need of it. Suppose some transaction, you want to assume that you want to find out the transactions which is greater than some value, something like that. Then that is, what you have to do is that you have to traverse through the graph. Okay, if you traverse the graph, then traverse the graph, and then or it is actually a graph search problem. Traversing the graph is a search problem. Finding the transaction is quite easy actually. There is no hi-fi algorithms are required. But if you want to find out something like, if you want to predict a transaction, like, then that's a problem. Like, what is the chance that this guy will transfer this much of Bitcoins to other people? If that question, if you want to answer, then it's a link prediction problem, or okay, that becomes a prediction problem, which evolves requires some machine learning tools like for predicting purpose.
Thank you, sir. We have three more questions almost related to each other. So I'll summarize that into a single question. So what are the various graph visualization tools or software tools that are actually available?
Yeah, plenty available actually. I will recommend Gephi. Gephi is one graph visualization tool that you can use, or you can use iGraph also. Okay, iGraph. Now again, for large graph processing, there are tools from Apache actually. Okay, Apache Giraffe is there. Okay, Giraffe, G-A-R-A-P-H, Giraffe is there. Even I think all these cloud companies have their own graph processing mechanisms are there. If you, from the end user level, if you want to use, I think you can use Gephi to a certain extent. NetworkX also will do. And again, NetworkX you can combine with Gephi, and you can combine with iGraph. You can.
So another participant is asking, can you share some
node graph and all that you can visualize? Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Another question
Please.
is, can you share some graph visualization tools, especially for tracing asset transfers?
No, I don't. I don't know.
Thank you, sir. Any more questions from the participants, please? So your session was really interesting, the way in which you have represented social networking and the epidemic spread. So personally, I would like to ask a question like, how can we use a NetworkX package for contact tracing?
Contact tracing in the sense that, can you elaborate it?
Like in the case of COVID-19 epidemic spread. So can I create a contact
Yes,
graph?
definitely, definitely. NetworkX is more than enough actually.
Okay, sir.
Epidemic actually, Mr. Joe Cherian is actually working on that. I mean,
Okay, sir.
epidemic spread algorithms are there, something like diffusion and all that. It is very well possible.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
I think we have no more questions. If there are any more questions, participants can unmute yourself and ask. We've also shared the feedback form. Participants are requested to kindly fill the form. Once again, Sajeev sir, it was indeed an interesting and exciting session.
Thank you. Yeah.
From all of us here at Singits, and on behalf of all the participants, I express our sincere gratitude for sparing your valuable time to be here to take the session. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
So again, thank you for calling me, and again, it was indeed an interesting for me also. Actually, I mean, you have given me an opportunity to look into blockchain. Actually, blockchain. I mean, blockchain graph. Actually, I was not serious about earlier. Now, I also started working on that actually. So thank you for giving me an opportunity to talk in front of a large audience. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, participants also. We have the next session at 11:30 p.m. Thank you. Take a break. Bye.
Yeah. So shall I disconnect, sir?
Yes, sir, please. Yes. Thank
Please.
you.
Okay. Thank you. Okay.